Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So today we are going to create a Next.js application. So this will be a blog website where we will use Next.js and MDX to create this blog. So the main package will be the Next.js, which is a React framework. Using that we will create this whole website, and beside that we will use MDX, and to parse the MDX we will use two more important package, and those are Graymatter to parse our front matter from this MDX, and also next-mdx-remote, which is another great package which will allow us to show our content in the website. So using these two packages we will show our MDX in our website. And beside these all things we will have other features like we will have pagination in our blog list. So and also we will have a tag filter which will allow you to filter all the blog posts based on the tags, and this is really interesting. And after that, in the single blog page we will have all of our content, and inside the content you can add the code snippet, and we will highlight those code snippet using highlight.js. Yes, a lots of interesting thing we will do inside this video, and I hope you guys will like that. So first of all, let's see what we are going to have, what we are going to build in this project. So here you can see this is the project, and first of all, in our index page we will have this hero section where we will have our photo and the information about myself. And after that we have some tags, so based on that we can actually filter our post. So these are the tags from our post, and we can filter our post based on our select tag. So let's actually select, let's say that I want to select the travel, and if I select the travel, here you can see the post is actually having travel tags, so that's why I am seeing the post. So which means you can filter the post based on the tags. So once we have that, also we will have the pagination, you can see. So we have nice pagination, yep. And finally, if I go to inside any of the post, you can see this is the single blog post, and the design for that is actually pretty simple. First of all, we will have our banner, and after that we will have our front matter information, and after that we will have our main content. And here we have our images and code snippets, which is actually highlighted, you can see. And that's all, pretty simple. And in the end we have this button which will allow us to go to the top. So if I click that, we will be in the top and we can go back to our home page. So pretty simple website, and that's what we are going to create in this project, and I hope you guys will like it. Now let me introduce you with the sponsor of today's video, ZigoCloud. ZigoCloud is a real-time audio and video cloud service provider. One of their product is video call. Using it, you can integrate high-quality, scalable video calling feature into your application. Besides, you will get industry-leading audio processing technology, including acoustic echo cancellation (AEC), automatic noise suppression (ANC), and automatic gain control (ADC), and many more. With sophisticated QoS strategies, ZigoCloud provides a stable and a smooth real-time communication service even in weak network conditions. They also have a collection of UI kits that you can explore. Based on your needs, you can implement the UI into your application. You can use it for almost any use cases: online education or entertainment stream, one-on-one or group calling. No matter what is your use case, ZigoCloud will get you covered. They also have a nice documentation, and with their web SDK you can get started very easily. They also have a nice range of language support for you, like React, Swift, Flutter, Python, and JavaScript for web. Finally, they also have a free plan where you will get 10,000 free minutes for every month, which is really cool. So for more information, go to zigocloud.com, and also the link will be in the description, so check it out. So right now I'm in the Next.js documentation. So here you can see getting started, and if you scroll down you will see how you can get started with Next.js. So here in this project I will use Yarn as a package manager, but if you want to npm you can use that. So in this case you can copy this command, but I will use Yarn, so I will use this command, which is the yarn command, and I will come here in my terminal and open up my terminal and paste the command that I copied in my project directory. So right now I am in the project directory, and it will ask us what will be the project name. So I want to install this in the current directory, so that's why I will put this dot here, and it will install next react DOM in the current directory. And also beside that it will also install ESLint and ESLint config next. So once it is done, we should see all of the files here. You can see, so in the, let me actually zoom it. So here you can see in our pages we have this API folder which we do not need, so let's delete that. And beside that we have our app and index. So in our index we have lots of markups here, you can see. So we do not need all the markups, so we can actually grab it and delete all the markups that we have here. So beside that, let's also have this h1 hello world here, and also we do not need any kind of styles for now, and also we do not need any kind of images and head, so let's delete those as well. So now here in our styles you can see we have our home.module.css which we do not need, so let's delete that. And in our globals we can see these are the some globals, global styles we have, so let's actually keep it like that for now. And we have our app.js. So that's all, that's what we have in our application. So let's open up the terminal and run npm run dev. So it will open up our server, and here the server will run in this port 3000. So let's open up our browser here, and in our browser I can go to our localhost 3000, and if I go to localhost 3000 I should see this hello world, and you can see this dark background. So these are coming from our global styles. In our global styles we have some settings. You can see the background is dark and the color will be black. So instead of having these styles I will have my global styles. So in this whole project we will not write any kind of CSS, so we will copy the CSS from the source code, and you can also do that. The link will be in the description for the source code, from where you can grab the CSS that you want. So let me copy the global CSS that I want to have. So I can just copy the CSS and paste it here. So now we have our own global CSS, you can see. So here you can see I have my text color and the background color, and I also applied that in our body, and here we have some other styles. And now if I open up my website, I can see now the background is changed and the color is also changed. So now after that in our pages, let's get a new file with the name of _document.js. So this will be our root level of the whole application. So here let's create a functional component, and instead of having the name _document, the functional component name will be my document. Actually you can provide any kind of name that you want. So now here in this document, instead of returning this div, what I will do is I will return the HTML. So this HTML component, we will import that from the next document, and inside this HTML, in our HTML we can also set the language of this web page. So lang will be, let's say that English, and also here inside the HTML we will have our head. So this will be our head, which will be imported from our next document. So make sure about that. There are two types of head component in the Next.js. One is coming from next document, and another one will come from the next head. So here in the document you need to make sure that all the component is imported from the next document. So here in this head we will have our link for our font. So come here in our browser and grab the font that we want. So in the fonts.google.com we can come here and grab the font that we wanna use in our web page. So I already grabbed this Interfont and the Oswald font that you can see here. And now here in the bottom you can see there are 3 links, and we want the last link that we have here. So copy the last link and paste it over here, and also make sure that you are closing the tag. Now we have our link, and which means we have our font. So after the head, let's also have the body tag. So this will be regular HTML body tag, and inside that we will have our main tag, which will be coming from the next document, and here we will have our main application. After this we will have our next script, and here it is. And also this next script will be from next document as well. So if I save that, now if I come here in our website, there will be no change, you can see. So now let's come here in our app.js, which is actually _app.js, here we will have our let me actually break it and get it inside of this fragment. So now here before our component we will have our head. So this head will be from our next head, and here you can see this head. So this is the one that I was talking about. So this head is coming from next head, and in the document we also used this component. This is also head, which is coming from the next document. You can see the difference. So this head, which is coming from next document, we should use that inside of the document file, and this next head that we have here, we can use it anywhere inside of our application. So inside this head we can provide any kind of head information like title, and here let's say that the title of this web page will be the Shaif's blog. So Shaif's blog, and if I save that, now if I come here in our website, I can see it is actually changed. Now the title of this web page is the Shaif's blog. Great. And also beside that you can provide a meta information. So meta, let's say that it will be description. So now we have our meta information as well. Great. And also we are having this IES-length error. So it is saying that we should use escaped HTML escape code instead of having the single quotation that we have here. So let's remove the single quotation and use this escape code. So the result will be same. You can see this escape this single quotation we have here. So great. So now after that we wanna create a layout. So right now it is actually taking the whole width, you can see. So we wanna create a layout for that. So for that, let's come here in our root directory. Let's get a new folder, and the name of the folder will be the components. Let's name it properly, components, and inside that we will have our layout. So this will be a folder as well. So layout. So inside this folder we will have our file, which will be the layout.js, and here let's get a function component. So this will be our layout component, and here we need the children, and I will render the children here. And also let's rename this tag. This will be main tag. Now here in our app we can actually use that. So here let's say that we will wrap our component with this layout, and let's actually wrap it. So now we wrapped our component with this layout. We need to import our layout, and if I do that, if I come here, okay, we are not having any kind of changes right now because we are not having any kind of a style. So let's actually create a new file in our layout. Beside our layout.js, the name will be layout.module.scss. So here we will be using SCSS. So we need to install a Sass package, but before that let me actually copy the style for this layout. So here we will have this single class, and also we are using Sass. So let's install the Sass package that will be required. So yarn add, and it will be a dev dependency, so that's why -d and Sass. If you are using npm, you can do npm install -d Sass. So it will install the Sass for this project. Now we can actually import this style in our layout.js. So import classes from and layout.module.scss, and now we can use the class here, and I will use here. So class name will be classes.container. So this is the only class that we have here, so that's what I'm using, you can see. So great. Now if I save that, and if I come here in our web page, I can see we have our layout. Great. So now after that, in our application, let's come to our home page. So this is the index.js, which will be our home page. So here right now I am just rendering this h1 where I'm saying hello world. Instead of that, let's actually create a hero section. So let's come here in our components, create a new folder with the name of home, and inside that let's create a hero section.js. So this will be the component rfce to create a functional component. So we have this, and to use that I can come back to the index.js, and instead of this h1 I can use the hero section, and import this hero section. We need to import it Why it is not importing? Okay, it is not importing the hero section because we have a wrong name here. So hero section, we forgot to add the O here, so let's rename that properly. So hero section. So now we have the correct name, and now it should be fine, hero section, and we can import it correctly. So now if I come here in our web page, I can see the hero section text, which is coming from our hero section component. Here it is. So instead of having that, I will have my hero section content here. So first of all, let's also create a new file beside this hero section in our home. So hero section dot module dot scss. So this will be the styles for the hero section. Copy the style for the hero section and paste it here, and also import the classes from this scss file. And here in our hero section, let's actually work on that. First of all, we will have a class name here, classes dot hero section. So after that, inside of this div, we will have another div. So this will be the wrapper for our image. Here we will have another class name, which will be classes dot profile image, and inside that we will have our image. So this is a component, image component, which will be coming from next image. So this image component is coming from next/image, you can see here. So great. And inside this image we need the source, and for that we need to import our image. Let me actually copy the image folder that I have here. So let's actually paste it in our root directory. So here in our root directory, let me paste it here. So now I have this image folder, you can see, and inside that I have my image. In this case you should have your image, and let's actually import the image that I have now. So import profile image from, and let's go to one more directory up, and here I will have the images, and inside that I have this profile image, and let's use it in our source. So profile image, great. And beside that also we need to use our height and width for this image. So let's say that the height will be 200 and the width will be 200 as well. And if I do that, also need the alt text. Let's make my name here as alt text, and if I do it correctly, I can see my image, rounded image, you can see. Great. And also after this image we will have our heading, and for the heading I will create a separate component. So now let's create a folder in our components. The name will be typography. So here we will have all of the component which is related to typography, and the first one will be the heading.js. So create a function component heading, and also beside this heading we need a style file for this. So heading.module.scss, and let me copy the heading style and paste it here. And in our heading, so here in our heading we will actually, let me import the classes first of all from the SCSS file that we created. And here in our heading, as a prop, I will take some props here. So the first prop will be the level. So which level you want, so heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, which one you want, we need to specify that. And after that we will have the children, and beside that we'll have our class name. So this class name, we will pass the class name if we want to have a specific classes for this heading. So that's it. And after that, here instead of returning the heading text, I will actually delete that, and here I will check the level first of all. So let's say that the level, if the level is 1, in this case I will return. So in that case I will return a h1. So here inside this h1 I will have my class name, and here let's say that class name will be the class name that we have here. And also beside that, here we need to provide the children. So that's all. And here you can see we are actually using our class name, but also we need to use our own classes which will be coming from heading.module.scss. So for that I will use a package which will allow us to manage our class names very easily. So the package name is the class X. So you can use yarn add class X. So this is the name, class X. If you wanna install it with the npm, you can do npm install class X. So install that. So in the meantime here we can use it. So to use that, all I need to do is in our class name I can say class X, and inside this we can provide the class name whatever we wanna add. So we can actually separate multiple class name with the comma here, and let's say that beside the class name that we will got from our parent component, I want to use the class name which will be coming from classes dot heading, like that. So this will be our first heading, and similarly we will have our second heading. So if our level is 2, in this case I will actually change the tag, it will be h2. So now also beside this our classes dot heading, we want to have the heading to a specific style. So this will be classes dot h2 heading, like that. And we want to do the same thing for our third heading. I think I can actually change it with the multi cursor. Nope. So now let's actually change this to 3, and also the tag name will be 3, and the class name that we have here will be also 3. Now we have our 3 heading style, but if you wanna have more from 1 to 7, you can actually do it, but in this project I will only create these 3 heading style. So now we have all of our heading. Now if I come here in our hero section, now after the image we can use the heading and import the heading, and here I will say my name. Obviously you should say your name here, and I imported that. Okay, so now if I do that, I will not pass any kind of label here because by default it will be level 1. Now if I come here, I can see my name here. Great. And also let me actually pass a custom class name here. So this class name will be classes dot name, and if I do it, I should see some space. And beside that, this heading, after the heading we will have some text. So let's also create the component for this text. So inside of our typography folder, let's create a new file with the name of text.js. So function component here, and also we need to create a style file for this text component. So the style file will be text.module.scss, and here we will have our text specific style. And let me paste the style here, and in our text we will grab the children, and here this div will be the paragraph, and we will render our children inside this paragraph. And here we will say we will have class name, and we will have let's say that classes dot text. And also beside this class we will also have class from our parent component. So let's also grab that class name from our parent, and I will use class X here one more time to have multiple classes. Now we can actually separate them from comma and provide the next class that we want to have here, so which is the class name. So great. Now our text is ready, and to use that I can come here and import that. Now inside this we can provide any kind of children. So I will just put some learn with some text here, and if I save now, I can come here in our website. Okay, class X is not defined, we need to import that class X. So come here in our text component, and here we need to import the class X. So now we have our class X imported. Now if I come here in our web page and refresh this, classes is not defined as well. So these classes we need to import that classes. So classes from our text.module.scss, and also make sure that you have module correctly. I have this misspell. Now it should be fine. Now if I come here in our web page, now we have our text, you can see, and great. So now what I want to do is I want to have some specific style for this hero text that we have. So for that I can provide the class name that I want to have. So class name will be classes dot, and the class name is the description. And if I do it correctly, so now you can see all of text is now center, and also we have a fixed width. Great. And let's also delete some of the text that we have here. We do not need that much text. I think that is good. Now we have our hero section done. So now we are having our hero section. So after the hero section we will have our blog list. So here we will have a list for all of our blogs. So let's do that. So right now we are not having any kind of blogs, so I can actually copy that. So in our root directory, let's have a folder. I will just paste it. So here I have this folder post, and inside that I have all of my blogs. So these are actually MDX files, you can see. So inside the MDX files we have our front matter. So we can see the front matter is inside of these hyphens, and here we have all of our information about the blog, like title, author, date, tags. And these tags are actually an array, and for that you can actually use multiple items or multiple tags. And to have multiple tags you can actually use it like that. Now I have 2 tags in this post, and also I have this description and the banner URL. So that's all. We have our blog. So you can have anything after that. So here you can see I have some headings, and also I have some text, and also I'm having some code snippets, you can see, and that's all. So you can have whatever you want. And if I save that, and also if you notice I have lots of demo posts that I'll be using in this project. And also if you want to use this demo post, you can actually get it from the source code. So now we have our post, and I need to quickly show that in our home page. So let's come here in our home page, and let's actually export another function from this home page, which will be our export async function, and the name of the function will be the get aesthetic props. And so from this function we can return anything. So whatever I will return from this get aesthetic props, I will get it in our React home component. So let me actually show you. If I return, so I need to return it inside the props, and inside the props I will say name equals to Shaif. And if I do that, and if I come here, and I can actually destructure the name, and I want to show that in our h1. So let's actually show that here. If I do it, and if I come here, now I have this Shaif, as you can see. So what I'm trying to say is whatever I will return from this function, we will get it in our main component. So what I need to do is I need to actually get all the posts, and I will return the information from this post, whatever I need, to this our main component. So to get all the posts, we need some other helper function. So for that, let's create a new folder in our root directory with the name of utils. And here in our utils, I will have a file. The name of the file is the MDX utils. So let me actually add the JS extension. So from these MDX utils files, I will actually export some constant that I will use in multiple places. And the first one is that export constant the post path. So we need the path of this post folder that we have, and for that I will use the path. So this is built-in Node.js, so we do not need any kind of a specific package for this path. So I can just import that, import path from path. So we do not need any kind of a specific package for this, it is already built in. So path.join, and inside that, to get this post folder path, what I need to do is I need to get the current directory first of all. So process.cwd, and it will give us the current directory, and after that, after the current directory, the folder name is the post, and that's what I will say. Now we have our path for this post folder, And after that we need another export from this file, which is the post file names. So we need all the names for all of our post. So let me actually make it names, and here let's say that file system dot. So also this file system is also built in, so we can actually get that fs from fs. So file system dot read directory sync. So read directory sync will take the specific folder path, and this folder path, post folder path, we already have that. So this is the one, and I will put it here, and it will give us all the file names which is inside this post. And after that I will say we do not need all the files, we need only the files that is having the MDX extension, I mean file extension. So I will just filter that. So this will be an array, so I just can filter it. So for each of our file name, I can actually check it with regex. So here I can actually provide a simple regex.mdx. So if it actually has .mdx in the end, so for that I can actually provide this question mark and $sign. So it will make sure that the file that I'm looking for is having .mdx in the end of the file name, and it will test it. So I will test it with the file name that we have. So now it will check all the file name. If it actually has this extension, then it will keep it, otherwise it will skip it. So now we have these two export that we can use here in our index file. So first of all I will actually import the post file names. So post file names dot map. So it is an array, so I can map through each of our name here. And also you can see this actually file name, this will be the slug for our individual post, and for that I can say for individual slug. So now for our individual post we need to get the content which is inside of this post. So to get that I will use, let's say that constant content equals to, and I will use file system dot read directory sync, so the read file sync in this case, and inside that we need to give it the proper path, and for that I will say path.join. Right now we have our path for this post. If you remember, we have the post path that I will use here, post path, and after this post path we have to provide the name of the slug or the name of the file. In this case it is the slug, and I can do that slug. So that's all. If I do it, it will get the content for each of our post, and after that we need the data actually, so we need to parse it from this content, and for that we will use one more package, and let me actually install that, and yarn add, and the package name is the gray matter. So this is the package name, and if you wanna install this with npm, you can use npm install gray matter. So let me install that, and from this we will have this function matter, and I will provide the content inside this, and from this content what it will do is it will parse this front method that we have, and I will have this inside this data, and also we can actually send this data in our this home component. So for that what I will do is I will actually return, and in this return I will have front method, and I will use the data here, and also let's also have the slug here. Great, and we do not need to actually mention it twice, we directly can say it once, and it will grab it and provide it inside this object. So now we will map through all of them, and for each of them I will return this, and we will grab it here, constant post. It is not actually the post, it is only the post front methods and the slug. So still I will call it post, and lastly I'll just return this post. Make sure that it is inside the props. So that's all, and now we have our post. Now if I come here and if I want to grab the post, and let me actually console log that so that we can see. And if I save that and come here, I should see an error, I think. Yep, I'm seeing an error. First error is that we are not having any kind of import for this fs and this path. So we need to import these fs and path in this file as well. Import fs from fs and also import path from path. Now we should, if I actually refresh now, I can see this there is an error. Okay, I see what is the problem. So I am having read file sync instead of read file sync. We need to add this a. Now we are having the error for our method because we did not import our gray method here. So let's import that gray method from here. You can see. Now let's see what we are having. So we are having now the actual error that I am expecting. So the error is that Next.js cannot serialize the date that we have, the date object that we have inside of our front method. So Next.js actually cannot serialize that. So to fix the problem here, what I can do is I can say this post will be json.stringify. So we can actually stringify this whole post. And now if I do that, in our this console log is actually console logging all the post, and I can see the post actually it is not an array. Instead of that, what I am having is the string because we just stringified all the post. So I do not need the string, I need the object back. So in this case it will be an array actually. So for that, to get our actual array back, I can actually parse it back. So json.parse and provide this inside here. So now I can see my array is back. Here you can see inside the array I have all of our posts, and here you can see we have our front method, this one, and also we have our slug, this one. And also if you notice right now what I'm having is I'm having this date, it is a string. You can see instead of having the date object, now it will convert this date object into an string, and now we can actually serialize that and we can actually pass it in our component. And now whatever we want, we can do that with our post. So let's actually come back here. Right now we are not seeing anything, so let's actually show the post in our application. So for that I will actually create a new component in our components folder. Let's actually create a folder for this, name it blocks, and inside that we will have all of our block related component, and the first one will be the blog list.js, and create RFCE, and we will have all of our blog here. So I can say blocks, and we can map through our blocks for each of our blog. For now let's say that I wanna return only the name. So blog.title, and these blocks we need to make sure that we are wrapping it with a fragment. I think that will fix it. Okay, so right now it is actually asking for key, but I will pass it and come here and import this blog list, I mean, and pass the blocks. Blocks will be the all the posts that we have. So great. Now if I come here, I should see all the title, so block title, but it should be dynamic, right? So let's say that blog title, and we are having the title. So this will be our individual block title. Actually it is not directly block title, it is blog.frontMatter.title. So let's actually fix that. Blog.frontMatter.title. Now if I come here, I can see all of our block titles. Great. So now actually style this component. So for that I need my SCSS file. So let's create a new file beside this one. So block list.module.scss. So copy the CSS and paste it here, and come here in our block list and import that classes from the file that we have now, this module SCSS file, I mean. So now we have our classes. Actually here let's actually rename this. Instead of having blocks, let's say that it will be posts, and let's also do it here, individual post and individual post dot from meta dot title. And also I need to change it in my index file, so now it will be post. I think post is actually better name than blocks here. So now we have that, and that's all. Now we can actually style this component. So first of all, I will say we will have a div which will wrap everything. So this div will have a class name which will be classes dot container, and also here I will have individual blog item. So let's say that for each of our post I will have blog item card, and we need to create that. Instead of creating this in a separate file, I will create this in here. So function blog item card, and here I will have return. So here I will actually get the post. Actually let's create it in a separate file instead of having this here. Let's create a new folder, new file, log item card.js, and create a functional component, and it will take a post here, individual post, and it will show the post title for now, post.title, like that. And I will import that, and it will take post, individual post here, and I will pass it here. And also let's actually provide the key. So key, we can use the slug as a key, so post.slug. That's all. And now if I come here, I can see I'm not seeing that. Why? Okay, block.frontMatter dot title actually. So now we can see all of our title. Great. And also in our blog item card, we need to import the classes. So I can use the same block list style for this one as well, because I already have the style in this file. So import classes from block list module SCSS, and here for each of our individual blog item card, I will say it will have a class name of item, actually classes.item, and I will not do directly like that. Inside that I will have my, first of all I will check if it is having a kind of banner URL. So post.frontMatter dot banner URL. So if it is having banner URL, in this case I will show the image. So for that I will have a div which will wrap the image. Here I will have a class name classes dot banner URL, and inside that we will have our actual image which will be our next image, and inside that we need source which will be our blog banner source, and this one will be our post.frontMatter dot banner URL. So great. And also beside that we need some other things like alt text, and for the alt text I will use the title of the post. So post.frontMatter dot title, and beside that I also need the layout, will be the fill, and object fit will be the cover. So that's all for our banner. And if I come here, okay, I'm seeing some error here. So because whenever you will use any kind of external source for the next image, you need to actually add the domain of the source in the next config. So this is the domain of the source. So I'm using Unsplash images, so that's why I need to add this domain in our next config. So come here in our next config, here let's say that images and domains, and here inside this we need to provide this inside of a string. So now we have our domains, and inside the domains we have our unsplash domain, and we can use unsplash images. I think I need to rerun the server because I just changed the next config. And now if I come here and refresh, we should see our next image, but we are not seeing that. Let's see why. And if I open up any of the blog post and if I try to see the image, I can see the image is actually loaded, but we cannot see it. And the reason behind that, I just realized that I just made a mistake here. So this item, I think this will have a width of 100%. So by the time you will see it in the YouTube, I will already fix that. But if I don't, you can just fix it from here. So if I do it correctly, now I can see all the images, and this one is not having any kind of images, so that's why we cannot see that. So great. Now we have all of our images, and after that, if I come here, after the images, I need to add all the other information for our blog card. And let's do it quickly. And for that, here I will say the second one will be our link. So this one link like that actually. So link will be from our next link, and here I will say we need to actually give it a href here. So href, so I will link it with the single blog page. So whenever someone will click this card, it will take us to the single blog page, and the link will be here. It will be inside of our blogs, and after that I will have the slug of the blog. So we can get the slug very easily. So I just can say $sign and curly brackets. Now I can say post.slug. Now it will have the correct path. So right now we do not have this single blog page, but we will create it in a moment. So let's also have the anchor tag, which will not have any kind of href because we will have it in our next link. And I will have a class name here, which will be classes.block title. And also inside this block title, I will have post.frontmeta.title. And that's all. And if I do it correctly, and if I come here, I can see my title. Great. And after that, I will have the date for our whole post. So post.frontmeta.date. So if date is available in this case, so inside that I will use text, which we already created, and here we can provide the date. So let's say that post.frontmeta.date. And if I do it correctly, I can see the date, but it is not formatted. So to format the date, I will use datefns, which is a nice package, and you can actually format your date as you want. So I will use this format here, you can see. So this format, and for that, first of all, I need to install this. So go ahead and install that. So I already installed this, you can see. So yarn add datefns. So once we install our datefns, come here and get this format function from the datefns. So this one will take new date and also the format that you want to have. So I will have this format, and also inside the new date you need to provide the date that you want to display. So if you do not provide this, it will show the current date, but I want to show the date that we have in our formatter. So if I do it correctly, now I should see our date is formatted. Awesome. After that, let's also show the text. So post.frontmatter.text. If it is available, in this case I'll go ahead and use our text, and here I will say all the tags. So I look through each of our tags. For that I need to say post.frontmatter.tags.map, and for each of our individual tag, let me actually get all of them. So tag, index, and text. So the text that I mean. So now here I will return a span. Inside that I will provide key. So for the key I will provide the tag itself, and also inside that I will provide the tag string. And after that I need to provide a separator, and for that I will say if our index is less than the tag index, mean tags length index. So if it is smaller than our text.length, and in this case I will provide the separation, otherwise I will not provide the separation, because if it is not less than our text length, or if it is equal to our text length, in that mean it is the last element, and for the last element we do not need the separation, right? So now we can see we have our tags, and also we can see our separation, and for the last element we do not have any kind of separation. Great. And also we need some space after that, so let's do it. A space here. Now we have the space, and also everything is looking good. So right now I need some class names, so let's actually do the class name in our tags. So here let's say that classes dot tags, and also I need class name in our date. So come here in our date and add a class name, and it will be classes dot block date. And if I do it correctly, I should see this one is actually a little bit more smaller, which is good. And after that we need our description. So to show the description, all I need to do is I need to check it first. So post dot front method dot description, and if it is available, in this case I'll go ahead and take the text, and inside that I will provide the post dot front method dot description. And also let's have a class name here, classes dot description, like that. And if I do it correctly, I should see all the description after the text. Great. So now we have all of our information for individual card, and it is looking good, you can see. So the next thing that I will do is I will create the single block page. Right now if I click any of the card, you can see there is no single block page. So now let's work on our Slack page, so which will be the individual single blog post for our all of the blog post. So for that, let's go to our pages, and here in our Next.js we have the file system routing. So which means however we will design our file or this folder structure, the routes will follow the same. So here if I create a new folder and create a blocks folder, and inside that if I have a blog, or if I have something like, let's say that first block dot js, so if I create a functional component here, and let's also say that page, now I have this component in this folder. So notice the structure that we have inside the pages. We have our blocks, and after that we have our first blocks. So the route for this component or for this page will be blocks slash first block. And let me show you. And if I come here in our website, and if I come here and say block slash first block, and if I do that, okay, I'm not seeing that. Okay, it is blocks, not blog. So let's make this plural, and after that now we can see it is actually giving us error because we did a mistake here. This one should be a capital P. Okay, so capital P here, and if I save now, I should see my page. So first block. So by all this thing, I just wanted to show you how the routing works in the Next.js. So we will not create all of the single page like that. What I will do is I will do a dynamic routing here. So inside of our blocks, I will create a new file. This file will have a special name. It will be slug, and after that we will have .js. So just notice the name. It is actually slug, which is inside the square bracket, and after that .js, which means it is a dynamic route. So this slug can be anything. So whatever we will say after the blocks, it will be considered as a slug. So what we will say here, so if I come here, first of all I will create a component. Let's say that single blog and page as well. So here, come here, and let's say that single blog page, and if I do it correctly, if I come here in our website and if I refresh, now you can see it is saying only slug, because from this page I am actually returning the slug div, as you can see. And whatever we will say after the blocks, it will be considered as a slug, and we can actually receive that and work on that. But in this case we will not receive the query or whatever the value of the slug will be. What I will do is I will actually make the slug in the build time and create all the specific single pages. So for that, what I need to do is, first of all, let's actually delete this, and instead of that, let's say that export default here. So after that, what I'll do is I will specifically say to the Next.js what will be the slugs and all the available slugs that we have. So the slugs for all of our single posts will be the name of this post. So for that, I will say export async function, and we will export this function, which will be the get static paths. So this is the different one, and here you can see this is the get static paths. So from here we can actually say our Next.js what will be the slugs for this dynamic route, and for that I will say constant post paths will be. So I will actually map through all of our posts, and for that we already have the function. I mean, we already have this array post file names, and we need to import that. And let me check my utils. So post file names, we have that, and yep, it is here, but we cannot. Okay, right now we can actually do the auto import. So after that we can map through these all the files, and after that for each of our slug, which will be the name actually here. So for each of our slug, what I will say is I will say params, and I actually need to return that, and for that I'll say return first of all, and inside that I will return this object where I will have a params property, and inside that I will have my slug, and this slug will be slug dot replace dot we need to actually replace the .mdx. We do not wanna keep the .mdx in our slug, right? So the slug will be before .mdx whatever we have. So for that we need to replace that, and that's why I just said that here slug dot replace dot, and after that what we want to replace. So I will do the same regex that I did before, and for that I will say .mdx like that, and it is obviously in the end, and for that I can say something like that. And we will replace it with what? We will replace it with empty string, and that's all, and it will replace that. And okay, this should be $, and okay, we are having this dot actually, so we do not need the dot. This is the method, so that was the error. So now we have the slug, and after that all we need to do is we need to return this from this whole application. So return this, and so inside that we need to return the paths, and we need to return our post paths as a paths. So you need to return the specific property from this function, so make sure that you are returning paths. And also beside that, let's also say fallbacks will be the false, and that's all. So what it will do is it will actually go ahead and say the Next.js what will be the slugs. So the available slugs will be all of the names that we have in this post folder, and after that we will get the slug then, and using that slug what I will do is I will get all the content from this file. So for that I need to do one more function. So export async function, and the name of the function is the get static props, and inside this function we now have a params, and here if you want to see what are the params, you can say console.log params here, and let's say that return nothing from this. And if I do that, I believe, and if I come here and refresh, So here you can see I'm actually facing this error, and it is saying that it is expecting the paths which we are already sending from our static paths, and also it is expecting a fallback which will be the boolean, and we are actually sending this, but we made a mistake in the name, so it will be fallback only. So if I do save that, now it is fine. And now if I come here in our web page and refresh this, we are having some problem. Right now you can see the page couldn't be found because the path we have, it is not a valid path. Now the valid path we have is this all. So we need to make sure that whatever I am saying after the blocks, it is matching with the post slugs. So we have a post slugs called, let's say that my fifth post, and if I do that correctly, now we are having our okay, so we are actually having some error, but the reason we are having that, it is actually so it is saying that from our get static props we should return a plain object. So now what I'm doing is we just returning nothing here. So let's say that props will be this, and if I do it correctly, still let's actually say that I wanna return the params, whatever params it is. So now it will be fine. Now you can see we have our this return. So now it is happy, but all I want to see is what is inside the params. So if I come here, you can see what is inside the params is that whatever we are returning from our this get static paths. So from the params we are returning the slug, and that's what we are seeing in our console log in our get static props. So here you can see. So using that slug, you can actually get a specific content for your blog post. I mean, if you are in the my fifth blog or my fifth post, then using that slug you can actually get the content from this file, my fifth post. So let's actually do that, and for that I will say, first of all I will destructure the slug out of these params, and after that I will say constant file path equals to and path.join. So we need to import this path. I will do it later, and here I need to join it. So I need to join with the post path. So we need to give the path for this post folder, and for that I already have a constant in my utils. So let's actually use that. So post path, and we need to import it from our utils. And after that, beside this post path, after that we need to add the slug, and if I do it something like that, it will not actually get the proper file, because right now this slug, if you can see here, this slug doesn't have any kind of .mdx extension. So what I will do is I will actually let's come here and let's make it backticks, and inside the backticks I will say, first of all we will have a slug, and also here we will have a /. Actually, so we do not need /. So after the slug here I will manually say here will be .mdx. So now it will go ahead and join these two, and it will get the specific file path. In this case it will be this one, and using that path I will actually get the content. So I'll say file content equals to, and I will use file system here. So file system dot read file sync, and here I will say file path. So it will have the file path that we have here, and after that I will say what is the encoding here. So UTF-8, so which will be probably the same for you. So after that here we will use our gray matter, and using gray matter we will separate the front matter and the content from this file. So let's say that constant data and the content using gray matter. So this matter function is coming from gray matter, and inside that we need to provide the file content. And now we have this data which is the front matter. So let's actually rename that. like that. So now we have our front matter and the content. So now we have our front matter and the content. So this content is now just string, but we need to actually make it HTML so that we can show it in our website. So for that we need to actually parse that, and for that we will use this package. Let me actually show you. Next-mdx-remote. So this is the main package that we will use to show our MDX in our website. So here you can see, and all I need to do is, if I come here in the GitHub documentation, I need to install that, and after that I need to provide the string inside of this serialize function that you can see. So let's actually do that and open up my terminal and install that first of all. And here what I need to do is I need to provide this inside the serialize function. So come here and say, so now let's do it here. So constant mdx source equals to, and I will say serialize function. So before that I need to await that, so await serialize, and inside this serialize function we need to provide our content, and we need to import this serialize function. Let's import it and let me watch it. We need to import that from our MDX remote serialize, you can see. So let's do it. So let's import it here. Now we have our serialize function, and also using that we can have our MDX source. So great. So now once we have our MDX source, now we can return it from our get static props. So let's return that. So now here in our props, let's say that instead of params, let's actually remove that, and let's say that we will return MDX source, and beside that we will also return the front matter, and let's also return the slug as well. And that's all. And if I do that, there will be a problem. First of all, we are getting another problem, which is the serialize. So here you can see I made a mistake. It is saying that cannot resolve next-mdx-remote, because I installed this package in another project. So I need to install this in here. So let's do it one more time. So let's install it here in our project. Now it should install it in the current project. So once it is installed, now it should resolve the serialize function import, and if it does, then I should see no error here, but we are seeing some error. So let's see. So this is another error. So cannot find module. Okay, I think what I need to do is I need to delete the .next folder. So I think I need to actually delete the .next folder that we have here. So after that I need to restart my server, and if I do that, it will remove the cache and it will regenerate this .next folder you can see here. So now let's see if we are still having the problem. Okay, we are having another problem, which is we need to import path and file system, so which I forgot. So import path from path, and also import file system from file system. And if I do it correctly, now we have our actual error, which is actually we are expecting. So Next.js cannot serialize this front method.date, and for that what we can do is we already did that, and we will say the front method will be first of all I will say json dot parse, and inside that I will do json dot stringify, and I will say front method. So this is the same thing that I did in the index file, if you remember. So here it is. So we need to actually do it here as well, so that we can bypass this error. So now if I do it correctly, we have no error, and now here in our this component we have the MDX source, front matter, and the slug. So using that, I can actually show the content in our web page, and let's actually do that. So for that, I will create a component in our components folder. So let's get a new file here inside the blocks. Let's name it single block.js, and if I create a component here, we need to import it in our slug. So let's do that, single block, and this is the component. And also beside this component, let's also create a new style, and let's say that single blog dot module dot css, and here we need to have some style. So copy that style and paste it. So now in our single block component, we need to do the stuff. Before that, I need to pass the content, or I mean the MDX source and the front matter and the slug inside this component. So let's do that. So here let's say that MDX source will be the MDX source that we will have. First of all, we need to destructure that from the props. So let's say that MDX source, and also we will have the front matter, and I will send it here, the front matter as well. So that's all. Now we have our single block page where I am sending the MDX source and the front matter, and let's actually get it in our single block component, and let's get the MDX source and front matter. Great. So once we have that here in our this function, also let's import the style that we have. So classes from, we can say single block dot module dot css, like that. So now here in this div, let's say that I will have a class name. The class name will be classes dot block container, and inside that we will have a link first of all. So this will be link to get back to our home page, and for that I need to import next link, and inside that I will have a href prop, and it will be the home link, and also we will have a anchor tag where we do not need any kind of href. Inside this anchor tag we will have the left arrow first of all, and we need to actually import this left arrow. Right now we don't have that, and let's actually do that. So I will have this left arrow svg. So let's actually create a component for our icons. So in our components folder, let's get a new file with the name of icon.js. So here we can have our icons. So the first icon that I want to have is the export function. So let's say that left arrow equals to, and it will be a single component here, and we will return, let's say that svg. So let me copy the svg, and if you want to get the svg, you can get it from the source code. So now we have our svg. So let's actually import it now, and if I come here in our home page, I should see this big svg, you can see. Great. And we need to style that, and for that here let's actually style it. So this anchor tag will have a class name which will be classes dot link, and if I do it now, if I come here, now you can see it is now a nice link. So great, here it is. And after that we will have our blog header. So after the link, let's have that blog header. So this will be a separate function, I mean separate component. So let's create the component here, blog header.js, and create a component here, and let's import it here. So now if I save that, now we should see block header text, and beside this block header component I want to create a style file as well. So blog header.module.css. So once we have that, let's copy the block header css and paste it here, and come here and import these classes from the block header dot module dot scss, like that. So in our block header we want to show all the front method information. So for that we need to grab the front method from the parent component. So from our parent component, let's pass the front method, and in our block header let's actually destructure this, and inside this function or inside this component we will show that. So first of all, here let's say that I want to remove this div, so let's make this fragment, and inside that we will have our head. So this head will be from next head, where we can set the head information for this page. So here I want to change the title of this page. So title will be, so we want to change the title, and now the title will be the block title that we have. So we can get the title for the block from our front method. So front method dot title. So now we will change the title of the block page. We have a meta description. So this description will be the description of this single post. So let's say that content will be the, so here let's say that the content will be front method dot description, like that. So great. Now if I come here in our website, now you can see the title of this page is now the title of the blog post. Great. And after the head we will have a div where we will have our front method information. So first of all I will have the banner, and for that I need to check the banner URL. So front method dot banner URL, and if it is available, in that case I will go ahead and create a div, and here inside the div I will have a class name of classes dot banner image. And after that inside this div we will have our image. So this is the next image which we need to import, and after that inside this image I need to provide the source. So the source will be front method dot banner URL, and also beside that we need to provide the alt text. So let's say that the alt text will be front method dot title, and also we will have a object fit. So object fit will be cover, and layout will be, let's say that fill. And if I do it now, we should see, okay, we cannot see our image. So let's see what is wrong. So if I come here, okay, it is actually showing right now. I do not know why it was not showing in the first time, but after a hard refresh now it is showing here. You can see. Great. Sometimes it just take a moment. So after that I will come here and create a heading, which will be the heading of our page. So heading, and we need to import heading, where I will say front method dot title, and if I do it correctly I should see the heading of our blog. You can see here. Great. And after that I will check my date before we show it. So front method dot date, if it is available, in that case I will go ahead and first of all I need to format that using datefns. So format, and need to import that. Right now it is not having the auto import, so I will import it later, but before that let's say that it will have the new date object where I need to pass the front method dot date, and beside that it will take the format that you want to have, so something like that. And if I do it correctly, so we are having this error because we are returning something and we should return a JSX from here. So I will say that this date will be inside of the, so I will say this date will be inside of a text. I think this will also fix the issue. So yes, it is fixing the issue. And also let's import the text from the typography. So now if I do that correctly, I should see a format is not defined error because we are not importing it. So let's import this format function from the date.fns, and so both will work, I think. Yep, now we have our this. So great. And after that we will show our tags. So this will be the similar thing that we had in our card. So if I come here, blog item card, here you can see, so we can actually copy this thing. So copy that and come here in our block header and paste it after the date. So if I do it correctly, and I think the class is also same, so we don't need to change that. And if I come here in our website, okay, post is not defined because right now we do not have post. Instead of that we have our formatter directly. So let's remove the post from here and also from here, and here we have our text. Great. And also here I just forgot to add some class in our date. So in our date I need to use classes dot block date. I think it will add some space between these two. Great. And finally the description, so it will be also similar, something that we did in our blog item card. So copy that and paste it, and it will add the description. Okay, so okay, the same error, we need to actually remove this post here, you can see, because right now we do not have the post, we have the formatter directly, so we can use that. So here it is, we have description. So I will also set description as a text here. So before we show the actual description, so let's say that description, and if I do that, it will be something like that. Great. So now we have this, and we are done with our block header. After that, let's come back to our single block. So in our single block, after the block header, we will have another component which will be the blog content. So let's create the component first of all for that. So let's create a new file with the name of blog content.js. Here let's create a component and let's import that component blog content, and I need to import it here. So block content, and inside this block content we need to get the MDX source. So MDX source will be the MDX source. Great. So now if I come here in our block content, we can actually grab the MDX source that we had here, and we can use that to show the content. So to show the content, all we need to do is we need to grab another function from our next-mdx-remote. So for that, let's actually do it here. Inside this div, let's create the MDX remote function. So this is not the function, this is the component which will be coming from MDX remote. So here we need to provide all the MDX source. Great. Now we have the source, and also beside that we need to provide our specific components that we want to use inside that. And if I do not do that, let me show you what we will have right now. So you can see this is just normal content that we have from our MDX. We have h1, but it is not showing our heading style. We have our paragraph, but it is not showing our text style. So we need to actually specifically say that in our component. So let's do that. And before that, let's also have a class here, and we need to have some style. So let's also create the style file for this one. So blog content.module.scss, and we need to import this. So literally I will have this only class here, and I need to import it from this page, and here I need to provide the class classes.container. That's all, and it will just shape the content. So after that, here let's actually create our actual component. So outside of our actual component, let's create a new constant named components, and here I will say if we have any kind of paragraph in our MDX, I will actually show it with, let me actually come here, I will show it with my text component that we have here, and here inside the text we need to provide the props that we will have. So that's all we need to say to handle our paragraph customly, and if I do it correctly, I should see, I need to refresh, I think. So we are having some problem. Okay, we are not sending these components inside this MDX remote. So for that I need to say components equals to components, and if I do it, you can see all of our paragraphs are using the text component that we have here. Great. So we need to do the same thing for our h1, h2 and h3. So h1, let's say that we will have the props. We can actually copy this and paste it here. Instead of paragraph, I will use h1 and the props will be same, and instead of text we will have the heading, and we need to import the heading, and also this heading will take another prop, which is the order. So for the h1 we do not need to pass the order, but for our second one, I mean the h2, it will take the order h2, I mean the second order, and it will do the same thing for our third one. We can say the order will be the third. So that's it. I think it is level, not the order that I'm talking about. So let's remove that, and that's it. So now we have our level 2 and level 3. So if I do it correctly, I should see this heading. Yes, it is working, you can see. Awesome. So now we have this, and also here you can see we are not having a proper syntax. So let's get back to it. So to have a proper syntax in our web page, I mean here you can see in our MDX we are having some code snippets. So to have a proper syntax, we need to install some packages and use it here. So for that I will use, if I come here in our next-mdx-remote, you can see if I scroll down, here you can see you can here you have an option to use remote plugins or rehype plugins. So what I will do is I will use a rehype plugin to highlight our code snippets, and the package name is the rehype. So let me search it in the npm. So rehype, and I think highlight, the name is rehype-highlight. Yep, this is the one. So this package will highlight your code snippet. So this package will highlight your code snippet, and it will use highlight.js to do that. So all we need to do is we need to install that. So let's actually install it. I will use yarn, obviously. So I need to delete this thing. So yarn add and install rehype-highlight, and also this package rehype-highlight will also need another package called highlight.js as well. So yarn add highlight.js. So install these two packages, highlight.js and also rehype-highlight. So in our slug.js, whenever we are actually doing serialize, we need to use that. So here we are doing the serialize, and here what we need to do is we need to say, we need to pass another parameter here, and which will be an object where we can provide options. So we need to provide MDX options, where I will say rehype plugin, not that rehype plugins, and it will take an option where you can specify any plugin, any rehype plugin. So the rehype plugin that I installed, I will actually use it here. So rehype plugin, which is the rehype-highlight, and I need to install, I need to import rehype-highlight here, and also I need to import rehype-highlight here as well. So we are using rehype-highlight. Now if I use that, if I come back to our web page, I should see, okay, there is no change, you can see, but if I inspect that, we should see the changes. So here you can see, if you notice in our code, let me actually zoom it. So here you can see lots of classes are applied here, which is HL.js, which is the highlight.js, So these are all highlight.js classes that are applied. So all we need to do is we need to provide a theme so that we can highlight that, provide a CSS theme or import a CSS theme so that we can get the style. So for that I need to import the CSS. So all we need to do is we need to go to our app.js where we need to import it, and I will import, let's actually import here, import highlight.js /styles. So after the styles we have a lots of theme, but I want to use the night owl one, so let's say that night owl dot css. And if you go to this let me actually show you, come here in our node modules, and after that we need to find the highlight.js. So it will be somewhere here. So here it is, the highlight.js, and if I open that I have the styles folder, and if I go inside that I can see all the available theme you can see here. So these are all the themes, and I'm using this one, night owl.css. And if you want to use other theme that you like, so you can find it from here and use it. All you need to do is you need to provide the name of the theme. So if you do that correctly, come here in your website, you should see nice code highlighting. Awesome. So now we have our code highlighting in our website, I mean in our blog. So instead of actually importing it here, we do not need that in all the page. All we need to do it, we need to import it in our Slug page, because this is where we need our code highlight. So you can also change the position of this CSS. So I think it will work the same. Yep, we are having our code highlighting. So now we are almost done for this page, and last thing that I want to have is I want to have a simple button which will allow you to go to the back, I mean go to top of the page. So let's actually create a scroll to top button. So I will create it in our single block. So here in our single block, after the block content, let's create the button, and inside that button I will have some class name, classes dot scroll to top, that's all. And inside that we will have some scroll to top text here, and also we need some on click event. So let's say that on click, and inside that on click I will say, what I will do is I will say window dot scroll to 00, which will go to the top of the page, and that's all. And also let's actually add a arrow here which will be the up arrow, and let's say that up arrow. And similarly we need to add the SVG for that. So let's go to our icons, so icons, and here let's export function which will be the top arrow, and inside that function we will return the SVG that we want to have. So let me copy the SVG and paste it here. So now we have our top arrow, and let's use it in our block, single block I think. So let's come back to our single block and let's import that. Up arrow, it is not doing the import, so the name will be the up arrow, not the top arrow. So let's do it here. Great, now we have our button. So if I come here in our website, I should see this button, and if I click that, now we are in the top of the page, and we can go back and we can go to any of the blog posts that we have. So if I go to this one, so right now, okay, it is not having, this is fourth blog. Okay, we are having some problem here. You can see this .mdx. Okay, let's come back to our card. So blog card. So here we have the link. So in our link we are using slug. So this slug is actually having .mdx extension, which we do not want. So let's come back to our index. So here we are actually sending this slug. So before we send this slug to our component, we need to actually remove .mdx. So let's say that slug will be slug dot replace, and I will replace the .mdx here. So let's do this regex one more time, .mdx, and it will be in the end. So that's what I'm saying here, and after that it will replace the .mdx. And now if I come here in our website, now whenever I'll click any of the blog page, it should take me to the exact blog post. And if I do it with this one, now there is no .mdx, you can see, because we just removed that. So now we have our single page working. After that, all we need to do is we need to add a filter, and also we need to add the pagination in our this list. So now let's actually come here in our home page, and in our home page we need to show all the tag list so that we can filter the post based on the tags. So let's do it first of all. So for that, let's come here in our index.js, and here let's create a component first of all, and come here in our component folder, and in our component folder inside of our blogs, let's create a blog filter. I think the name will be tag filter.js, and let's create a component and let's use it in our index file. So tag filter, and we need to import that. We cannot import it because we did not save that. So now still not. Why? Okay, I just made a mistake. I have a typo here. I always have typo. So filter, this will be something like that, and also the name we need to change that. So filter, something like that. Okay, great. Now it should work. Now it is having the tag filter, and if I come here in our website, I should see where it is. Okay, it is in the end, but it should be after the hero section. So let's actually change the position of it. So it will be after the hero section, we will have the tag list, and here for the tag list we will have a state here, so constant, and the state will be the selected tag. So selected tag, and also set selected tag, and we will use user state here, and the value for the default one will be the all, and that's all. And I need to import this from our React, and we need to pass these two in our tag filter. Selected tag will be the selected tag, and set selected tag will be the set selected tag. So now we are actually sending these two in our tag filter. So let's come here in our tag filter, and here I need to import our selected tag and also set selected tag. So in our tag filter we also need one more thing, which is the list of the tags. So we do not have the tags right now, so let's actually get all the tags from the post. So right now we have the posts array, and from that we need to actually get all the tags, and let's do it. Here let's say that constant all tag set equals to and post, and we need to use reduce here, and inside that I'll use accumulator and also the post, the single post. So it will loop through each of our single post, and whenever we will loop, we will say post dot front matter dot tags. We will loop through our tags, we will map it here, and here I will say whenever we will map through, we will actually get the tag. For individual tag we will actually push it in our accumulator, and here I will say accumulator dot add, and we will push our tag, the single tag that we will have inside the accumulator. Accumulator will have an initial value, and here I will say what will be the initial value. So here I will say new, it will be set because we do not want to have any kind of duplication. So that's why I thought that set will be a good idea to use here. So inside the set you can provide any kind of initial value you want to have, but I do not want to have any kind of initial value inside of this set. So that's all. It will accumulate all the tags and put it inside here. And if you want to see that, you can say console.log all tags set, and if I do it, come here and come here in the console. Okay, we are having some error. Tags add is not, cannot access property add, this is not defined. Okay, I think we are having some problem here. So let's see what I did wrong here. You can optional change this, and now I think it should be fine. At least now it should have another error, so which is that cannot read property of undefined reading at. And also from these reduce we need to also return the accumulation or accumulator here. So I think that will fix it. Yep. So now this accumulator is a set, and now we can actually have this add method because this is a set now, and we can add our tag. And that's the thing that I want to show you is that this is the array. You can see not the array right now, it is set, but we need to convert it an array. So let's actually convert that. Constant all tags array, and here let's say that we will have array.from. We can have that, but I will actually do this thing. I will spread all the things that we have in our all tag set. So it is simple and it will also work. So after that, once we have it inside of an array, after that I will actually sort it, and based on our alphabetic order I will actually sort that. So I will have A and B, and all I need to do is I need to add our local compare, and I will compare it with the B, and it will sort that. And now if I want to actually see that, console.log and all tags not set one, all tags array. So come here in your website, refresh that, add.local compare is not a function. Okay, so let's see what I did wrong one more time. So it is something like this, local with E. Now we are having the array. You can see here it is, the array, and we have all of our item inside this array. Great. Now also one more thing I need to do is I need to actually push a default option inside this text, which is the all. So for that I need to say here unshift. Not here actually, because the unshift, what it will do is actually it will return the index instead of not the index, it will return the length, new array length instead of the whole array. So for that we need to do it in a new line here, and I will say all tags array dot unshift, and I will unshift the all. So it will now have all in the first place of this array. Now if I come here in our website and refresh this, we are not having the console log. Let's actually, okay, we are not doing the console log, that's why we are not seeing. So if I console log the all tags array, and if I do it correctly, now we should see an array. We have all of them, and the first one is the all because we did unshift here and we added all in the first place. So that's what we want, and that's all we need for now. And come here in our tag filter, and inside the tags just paste all tags array. Great. And come here and grab it, all the tags, and use it here. So also here let's actually get the classes. So import classes. Do we have the file? We do not have the CSS file yet, so let's get the CSS file first. tag filter .js, sorry, .module .scss, and let's grab the scss for that and come here and grab the classes from this file. So tag filter module scss, like that. And here, so first of all, in this div we'll have a class name, so classes dot container. We will have multiple classes here, so let's use class X. Great. And after that, inside this div I will have all the tags and map it, and for each of them I will return a button which will have a key, obviously. So key will be the tag itself, because this will be unique. And after that, we will say inside that we will have a text, and also we need to style that. So let's use the class name, and here I will use class X, and inside that I will have the class tag button. So class name, sorry, classes dot tag button, like that. And if I do it correctly, I should see an error here. So we need to import, no, classes is not defined. Okay, we need to say like that. Now we have all of our tags in the filter. Great. So once we have all of them, after that we need to do one more thing. We need to come here and we need to do on click in our tag button. So on click, what we want to do, so whenever we will click a button, we want to make it a selected tag. So for that I will say set, first of all let's say that we will have a function here. Inside the function I will say set selected tag, and inside that I will provide the tag. So now we have our selected tag, and if I actually have a selected tag, then I can have a specific style based on that selected tag. So for that I will come here in our class X. Here I will say if our selected tag is if it is equal to our current tag, then it is the selected tag. Then I will actually go ahead and create a class for that, and the class will be the selected tag, not selected tag, only the selected. And let me come here and go through one more time. So here what I'm saying that if the selected tag that I am getting from the parent, it is equals to our tag which we are clicking right now. So if it is the same thing, then we will have a specific class which is the selected. And if I come here, now we can see we have a default selected all, because whenever I'm here, whenever I'm actually creating this state, I'm saying that the default state will be all. So that's why I'm having the all as a default selected. But if I click another one, it should be selected, and also based on that it will change the it will also add the style for our selected, which is the border in this case. Great. So now using that selected tag, we can actually filter this block. So let's actually do that. So after that, let's come here and create a use effect, and we need to import that use effect. So import it correctly. And after that, inside of our use effect, we need to say whenever we will change the selected tag. So let's add it in our dependency array. Whenever we will change our selected tag, then we will do something. What I will do is I will filter the post. So for that, let's create a let variable, because we will reassign this variable, which is the temp posts, and by default or initially it will have all the posts that is here. And also whenever we have selected tag, selected tag, and the selected tag is not equal to the all. So it's not equal, because if it is equal to all, then we do not need to filter it. We can just set the all post that is available. But if it is not all, then we need to filter it. We will filter it with our post. So post dot filter, and we will say for each of our post if it match with our condition. So the condition is that post dot front matter dot tags dot includes, if includes the selected tag, then keep the post, otherwise just skip the post. So it will filter all of them, and I will get the result in our temp post. So here I am reassigning this variable, so that's why I just used the let. So once we have our filter, and after that we need to have another state here. So let's say that constant filter posts and set filtered posts, something like that, and use a state here, and by default it will have all the posts as an initial value. And here I will say we will actually set the set filtered post will be the temp post, which is already filtered. So that's all. And also we are having an error because we are not using the post. So let's come here and say post. Great. Now we need to use our filter post in our block list. So instead of passing the post, I will pass the filtered post. And if I do it correctly, I can come here in our web page, in our home page. Now it is having the all as the default selected, because whenever I am having this, we are having all, and whenever we are having all, we are not having any kind of filter. But if I just select another one, you can see it is only having the blog post, which is having the the selected tag. Great. These two are having the test tag, so it is working, you can see. So if I select all, you can see we will have all of them. Great, our filter is working. So finally all I need to do is I need to have a pagination. Right now we do not have any kind of pagination for this list, so let's have a pagination. So this will be interesting. So in our index page, first of all, let's have a constant, and let's say that post per page, and we will have 3, but if you want to change it, you can change it. So after that we will have a state here, which will be the current page. We need to track the current page, so that's why I have this state. So set current page, and initial value it will be null, so use a state, let's say that null. And after that we need one more thing, which is the constant total number of pages, total pages. So total pages will be very simple. So first of all we need to check our selected tag. If our selected tag is all, in that case, if our selected tag is all, in that case what I will do is I will actually, the length of our post will be the similar to our post, because it will not have any kind of filter, because it is all, right? So I will say post dot length, and I will divide it with the post per page, and this will give us the total number of page if it is having the selected tag all. But if it is not having the selected tag all, in that case we need to actually have the filter post. So filter post dot length, and we will divide it with the post per page. And also okay, this one is the problem, so I'm actually checking it here, but this one should be colon instead of this question mark. Now it is fine. So now I'm saying that selected tag is all. If it is all, then I will use the post and its length, and I will divide it with the post per page, and it will get me the total pages, and if it is not all, then in that case I will use the filtered post. So it will do the job, but to make sure that I will actually make it seal, because sometimes it will give you unexpected number. So math.seal, and I will seal this whole thing with that, and also I'll do the same thing here, math.seal, and like that. So now we will have our total pages. Great. And the last thing that I need to do is I need to come here, and whenever I will have our page, based on our page we will actually narrow down our filtered post. So for that I will say constant page equals to, so I need to actually get the current page or get the page value from our React query. So I will use, first of all I need to actually paginate that, because it will be in constant, I think. So I will say router. Okay, we need to get the router, we do not have the router. So let's come here and say constant router equals to use router, and this router will be from React router. So great, now we have our router, and I can use that here. I will say router dot query and page, and I will paginate that with the base 10. And if we actually have it, I mean if we have any kind of query in our page, then it is fine, it will do the job. But if we do not have any kind of query, in that case it will be the page number 1. After that we will get our start index and the end index for our post. So constant start, and start will be so page -1, and we need to multiply it with the post per page, so it will give us the start index. And we need to get the end index, so end index will be the start, whatever start index is, we need to add the post per page. So this will give us the end index, but there is a problem. Sometimes it will actually exceed the limit of our post length, so this is a problem, so we need to check it. So we will say the end index, whatever it is, if we calculate that, if it is more than our post dot length -1, so if it is more than our post, so in that case I will say the end will be the post dot length -1. Otherwise I will do the same thing that I did before, start dot post per page. So this is very simple. Let me actually go through one more time. So the end index, we need to make sure that this one, which is the value that I am using in the end, here you can see, so it is we need to make sure that it is less than our post length, because if it is more than our post length, in that case there will be no post for that, because we do not have that amount of post, right? So we need to make sure that it is less than our post length, and if it is more than that, then the end index will be the last index that we have, and otherwise we will do the start plus post per page. Great. So finally we need to get our paginated posts. So paginated post will be the, we need to do temp post dot slice, we need to slice it with the index of our start, and we will slice it till the end. So that's all, and it will slice it based on our start and this end index that we have, and it will get the value inside of this. So now instead of setting our filter with the temp, we will set it with our paginated post. Great. And finally we need to add one more dependency, which is the router here, and that's all. So now our paginated post will be added here. So based on our pagination we will see the post. So that's all. Now if I come here in our web page, we should see only 3 posts per page right now. So to show our pagination in the home page, let's create a component for that. So let's say that pagination. So this will be the component which we need to create. So let's come here in the component, let's create it here. So let's say that pagination.js beside our icons. So here let's create a component and import the component here. Great. So now if I come here in our web page, I can see this pagination text. Fine. So in our pagination component, we need to provide some information as a prop. So first one is the current page. So current page, and also the total page. So that's all we need for our pagination. So come here in our pagination, and also beside this pagination file, we need pagination.module.scss, and here we need to have some style. Copy the style, paste it here. Great. And here in our pagination, we need to import the style from pagination.module.scss. Great. And here in our pagination, let's also destructure the current page and also the total page. Total pages, actually, let me check it. What was that? Yes, total pages. Great. So now we have all of that, and after that, here in our component, we can get our router. So constant router equals to use router, and import use router from the next router. So great. So in our pagination, in this div, first of all, let's have a class name. So classes.pagination, the class name will be, and after that, inside this div, we will have a paragraph, and inside the paragraph, we'll have some class name as well. So classes.pagination, heading, and inside that paragraph, we will say page number, which will be the current page, and after that, out of the total number of page. And if I do it correctly, I should see page number 1 out of 3. Great. And after that, we will have some buttons which will allow us to navigate the pages. So div, not like that, like this one. So class name, classes dot pagination, paginate links, I think that's the name, container as well. So paginate links container, so this is the class name, and inside that I will say, so here let's say that first of all we will check our current page. If it is more than one, in that case we will have our first link, which will be the previous link. So if our current page is more than one, in that case we have a previous page, right? So that's why we just have a check. So first of all, we will have a link here, and this is the next link, and here inside that we will have our href. So href will be, so inside the href I will say whatever the current page, we need to go one step back. So for that, after the / we need to provide a query, which will be the page query. So page query will be, inside that we will use JavaScript, and I will say current page -1. So it will take us to the previous page, and also for our text I will say previous, like that. And I will not say the text directly here, I will have a anchor tag without href. Inside that I will have our text, and inside that anchor tag we will have our class name, and the class that I want to have is the classes dot paginate links. So paginate links, like that. Yep. So now we have our previous page link. Now we are not having the link because we are in the page number 1. It will have we will see the link if it is actually more than, I mean the current page is more than 1. So let's actually do the next page. So in that case we need to check the current page is actually less than total pages, and if it is, then I will come here and create a link, and in the href I will say, so we need to do the same query here, so page, and we need to say in our query, so let's go to JavaScript and say current. So this is the next page. This is the next page, so which means we need to do +1 here, so it will go to the next page. And I will do anchor tag. Let me actually copy this one, anchor tag, and paste it here. So instead of previous, now it will be next. Great. Now if I come here, we can see only next page. If I click the next page, it should take me the second page. Now we are in the page number 2, and you can see it also from here and also from the URL. So great. In the next page, I mean in the page number 2, we have our previous page, which will take you to the first page, and we also have the next page, which will take you to the third page. And also the content, you can see it is actually changing based on our pagination. So in the third page, we are not having any kind of content right now. But why? I think here in our index, I changed something. So this one, you can see instead of -1, let's actually say only post.length, and let's see. If I do that, I can see the last post, you can see here. Great. So just come here and say post.length only in our end index. So check it here. Great. Now we have all of our posts here. And also one thing you can see, so right now whenever I am having all, in that case I am having 3 pages, right? But whenever I will go to the other page, something like test, so let me come here in the first page. First of all, tag here, let's actually select this one. So this one is having only one post, and that's why it is having only one page. So the problem is, let me come here in the all one more time. Now if I come here in the second page, and if I come here in the second or any other tag, so this tag is not having the second page, but right now we are in the second page, so there will be this blank because this is the second page out of 0. So that's the problem. So to fix that, all we need to do is we need to come here in our in our tag filter. So here, whenever we are having on click, I will say whenever we will click, I will go to the router. So we need to get the router. We are not having router here, so constant router equals to use router, and I will use that and go back to the page number 1. Whenever I will select that router.push, and to go to the page number 1, I can just go to the home page without any kind of query. And if I do not have any kind of query, which means it will make it page number 1. So if I click now, I am in the page number 1 of our test, because the test is not having multiple pages, it is only having one pages. So that's why we are seeing that. So great. Now whenever I will come here, I will see only the post based on the selected tag, and also we are having pagination. Nice pagination. It is simple, but it is working, you can see. So that's it for this one. Hey guys, before we finish our project, I want to show one more thing, is that how we can actually add images in our content. So here what we need to do is we need to provide this syntax, and here inside the curly brackets we need to provide our alt text, and inside these parentheses we need to provide the URL for the image. So let's say that this will be text image, so this is the alt text, and after that inside our parentheses we need to provide the URL. So let's say that the URL will be the one that we have here. So let's copy that and paste it over here. So this will be the same image. So once we have that, after that we can come here in our website, and this is the post, and if I come here inside the post, so here you can see we have our image, but it is not having any kind of a style. So we need to actually handle this image. So for that, what we need to do is we need to come here in our single block. So here in our single block, not in the blog, in the content, so the block content where we are having our MDX remote component. So here we need to grab our image, and we need to say we will handle it with our next image, so props, and here I will say, let's say that we will have a span first of all, which will wrap our image, and inside that we will have our actual image component, which will be from our next image, and inside that we will provide all the props like that, and also alt text will be, so this will be props.alt, and that's all I think. And finally layout will be fill, and here we will also have the object fit will be the cover, and that's all. And here we'll have a class name, so let's say that the class name will be classes.blog image. So if I come here inside that, so actually the name is blog image full form, so we need to change the name here, so it will be image something like that. So if I do it correctly, if I come here in our website and do a refresh, so here you can see this is the image right now, and it is having correct width and height. So if you want to change that, you can come here in our blog image class, and here you can actually provide your height that you want and the width that you want. So that's all. So this is one way how you can actually add it in our MDX. So if I come here in the fifth post one more time, so you can actually add external resource like I did here, and make sure that the domain is actually added in the next config. So we already added that, so that's why there is no problem. And another way you can actually do that is you can provide the image inside the public folder. So let's also try to do that. So let me copy the images and come here in our public and paste it inside the public. So now inside the public I have an image and I want to show that. So to show it, what I will do is I will come here and say it is the test image and it is the public one, so it is the public one, and here inside that we need to provide the path. So to provide the path, because it is inside the public, we do not need to do relative paths. We directly can say after the / it is inside the images folder, and after that the file name is the test image.jpg. so that's all. So after the public folder we need to just say images, and after the images we have the file name. So that's what I said here, and if I do it correctly, now we should see it in our website. So let's refresh this page. So this is the image, the second one, which is coming from our public, you can see. And there is another way how you can do it, and this is the way I recommend to do that. So if I come here, you can use actually service like Cloudinary, which will allow you to store your image and you can share the image from the storage. So like Cloudinary, you can actually use other service, and I will use Cloudinary, and inside the Cloudinary I have these blogs, you can see. So inside the blog I have the image that I want to actually share in my blog website. So here it is. So if I want to actually share that, what I need to do is I need to just copy the URL and come here and paste it here. So let me do it here, test image cloud, and I need to paste the URL here, and in this case I need to add this domain because this is a new domain, and copy the domain and come here in our next config, and here beside this one let's actually paste the new domain. So now restart our server. So if I do it correctly, I should see a new image here. So here it is, we have a new image. So this is the way which I recommend. Just grab all the image that you want to use in your blog and put it service like Cloudinary, from where you can actually show the image directly in your website, and all of your blog image will be in one place, and that's how you can actually manage it easily. And I think that this is a good way to handle your images. So yeah, so that's it for this video. I think that we are done in this project. All the things are ready to use, and yeah, it is looking good. And before I go, I want to say that if you learned something in this video, and if you want to support this channel and support me, what you can do is you can buy me some cup of coffee, and the URL for this website I will link it in the description. You can come here, and if you appreciate and buy me some coffee, you can do that from here. So that's all I want to say, and I will see you very soon in the next project. Till then, take care, bye bye, and Khuda Hafiz.